Students, so today we will be starting this chapter, the types of communication. Okay, so what is communication? First of all, communication means the way how you communicate, how you interact with people. Okay, suppose you have gone to some other country, there you use some other kind of language. Suppose in India you use Hindi, you use Bengali, or somewhere in your school you use English. Okay, but if you go to France or in Germany, they some people over there, suppose let's talk about 50% people will understand English, but no one can understand Hindi or Bengali over there. Okay, so you have to switch to their language. If you go to France, then you have to switch to French language for a better communication. Okay, so this is what an overview of communication is. And next, there are many things like do's and don'ts of communication, what you should do, you shouldn't do, like that. In suppose you are in an interview, suppose you are going to get a job. In that interview, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, these things all are listed in this chapter. So this chapter is totally, see, first of all, in your life you will be studying two parts, two types of knowledge you will be getting, two types of skills you will be earning. One is the soft skill, another is the hard skill. See, soft skill is nothing like soft like cotton, and hard skill is nothing like hard like iron. Okay, hard skill means all the technical skills that you will be learning. The technical skills are the suppose spreadsheet, that is Excel, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, editing in Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. Those are hard skills. But what we are doing right now are the soft skills. Okay, that develops our personality. Okay, that are interacting with our personality, interacting with our behavior, our body language. All these are the soft skills. Okay, so we are currently focusing on the soft skills. Previously we had done two chapters of hard skills, that is, one is the Linux, another one is the Windows. Okay, but now we are totally concentrated on to soft skills. Okay, see, there are types of communications. Okay, there are many types of communications. One is the verbal communication, that is communicating orally, verbally. Okay, orally means suppose you are talking over a phone. Over there, do you type messages when you talk over a call? No, you don't type messages. What you do, you just say anything to the people, to the person on the other side, and he also says something which you hear it. Okay, so this is the oral form of conversation. Suppose what I am doing right now is the oral form of conversation. I am not chatting with you. Okay, so this is oral form, that means the verbal form of communication. Okay, next comes the non-verbal form, that is using body gestures. Okay, or any kind of thing, suppose any kind of gesture or any kind of sign language type of thing. Okay, these are used by deaf and dumb people. Okay, the handicapped, the mentally, the physically challenged people, they use this type of language to understand and interact with other peoples. Okay, this is non-verbal form of communication. Someone who can't speak, so he or she will perform a non-verbal communication. Next form of communication is the written form. Okay, communicating via handwritten or printed information. Okay, so this is where I am where I am right now. Okay, written form, so that is communicating via handwritten or printed information. Then suppose if I give you one PDF on some questions and answers, then that will be a written form of communication, that I am trying to communicate with you in a written manner. Okay, that I am giving you some PDF that you should study, or that should come in the exam, like that type of thing. And after all, the last one is the visual form of communication, what I am doing right now. Okay, I am showing this PDF of your book to you visually. Okay, so this is the visual form of communication, where you can see the PDF of your book, and I am just explaining to you line by line what is the meaning of this chapter. Okay, so visual form, communicating via pictures, that means this is a picture, logos, posters. Logo can be anything, any kind of logo, the logo of Google, logo of Facebook. Posters are something, maps. Suppose you have learned geography, there you have done maps, charts, pie chart, bar graph, histogram, these also you have learned. So communication can be classified into these three forms: verbal, non-verbal, written, visual. So we have learned it over here in a brief. We have learned it over all these four forms of communication. Now we will be learning about pros and cons of various types of communication. Okay, pros and cons. Pros means the advantages, cons means the disadvantages. Okay, pros means the merits, cons means the demerits. That means pros generally means the good side, cons generally means the bad side. Okay, we are learning about that. So first comes the verbal or oral communication. Verbal or oral communication, the pros and cons of verbal or oral communication. Let's see. Pros. it is a straightforward to express the feeling. Okay, see, in verbal communication, if you talk with someone, suppose you are crying on a phone, suppose you are talking with your very close best friend and you are crying on a phone, so what the other person who is on the other side of the phone, what he or she will understand, he or she will understand that you are sad currently, you are in depression, okay, you are in stress. Okay, so this is a very straightforward way to express your feeling, but you can't express your feeling in form of text. Suppose you are crying but still you are sending smiling emojis to your friend. Will your friend any day understand what are you crying, or are you angry with him or her? Will he or she understand that? Never, because it's not possible until he or she hears your voice, or he or she see you face to face. Okay, till if you don't do in a face-to-face conversation or any kind of oral conversation using written communication or using any kind of written thing, it is not that easy to express the feeling. Okay, that easy to express the feeling. Suppose you are crying but you are still sending smiley emojis, then what he or she will understand on the other side? He or she will understand that you are very happy. He or she won't even get a hint that you are crying right now. Okay, like that. It is a straightforward way. Explain the meaning and convey any internet message you can convey, okay, using a very straightforward manner. Then the communication, and the second point is the communication is mostly interactive, which gives the receiver a chance to clarify if anything is unclear or required in further explanation. Suppose over here right now I am just telling, but there is no questions coming from the other side. There is no questions coming from your side. Okay, so what is happening? This is a one-way conversation. Okay, this is a one-way conversation. So when we are having the interactive video classes, there we will be having both-way conversation. That means if I am telling something and if you have any doubt, then you can ask me back. Okay, that is a much interactive way. So that's why the oral communication is that much very important. Okay, suppose you are just texting on a phone, you are teaching somebody. Just imagine how hard it is. Suppose you are a teacher at some point of your life, and you are given a task to teach a huge chapter, a mathematics chapter, only by just texting on WhatsApp. Can you do it? No teacher in the world can do this. Okay, so that is the very straightforward, that is very much interactive. That's why the classes that you have alternate weeks are called interactive classes. That means you can interact with the teacher. Okay, I am teaching, you can ask me anything if you have any doubt. Okay, like that type of interaction I'm talking about. Third one, it is a speedy form of communication. Why it is a speedy form of communication? Suppose you have written a text on WhatsApp. Suppose due to this current weather situation, your WhatsApp is not working properly because of your internet. So your text gets a little bit late to be received by the a person on the other side, and he or she might be doing some other work. Suppose he or she is doing his or her school homework. So suppose his or her phone is on charge, that is recharging, okay, on electric charge. Next, so he or she will he or she be able to open the WhatsApp and check the text message then and there at that moment when you send it? No, obviously not, because he or she is now doing homework. But if a call comes to her phone, his or her phone, then what will happen? He or she will go down, stop doing his or her homework, and pick up that phone and talk verbally. So phone is a speedy form of communication. Okay, just talking verbally is a speedy form of communication. There is no connection issues in between them. Okay, there is no connection issues, just face to face, front to front, or call to call talk. Okay, over the call talking. This is the most speedy form of communication. Fourth point, you get instant feedback. That means like this that I am talking about. See, I am teaching, but is there any doubt coming from the other side that whether you are understanding or not? No, there is no doubt that is coming on the other side. So I am not getting the feedback of you that whether you are understanding or not. But in the interactive classes, I get a feedback. Suppose if someone has understand, then he or she won't raise a doubt. If someone has not understand something, then he or she will raise a doubt to me. He or she will unmute his or her mic and will tell me that, sir, I have doubt in this portion. Okay, so this is the case of instant feedback. So I get instantly, I get asked about the doubts. So this is the fourth advantage. Next comes this is the preferred form of maintaining relationship as verbal communication. With effective non-verbal communication makes the professional and personal bonds. Okay, this is Actually, it's telling about this is the preferred form for maintaining relationships as verbal communication along with effective non-verbal communication makes the personal professional life makes the professional and personal bonds. Okay, so what is it telling over here? Suppose you are maintaining a relationship. Suppose there is a relationship. Suppose a husband-wife relationship. Can a husband-wife relationship be based on phone calls? No, never. A husband-wife relationship cannot be based on phone calls. Suppose the husband is in USA and his or her his wife is in India, and the husband stays in USA for suppose 5 years. So is it possible for both of them to stay separated and just over the phone call, just over a video call? It's never possible. It's never possible. So that's why the best way to maintain a relationship, obviously using chatting, any kind of text messaging apps. Is it possible for a husband or wife to keep contact with each other? It is never possible. So always it is better to give a phone call rather than texting. So that's why verbal method of communication. And also in profession, suppose you are working in a company and your boss just wants to get an advice from you, suppose a financial advice from you. So what will he do? Will he text message you? And suppose you are going to give a financial advice to your boss. So what will you do? You will give a long essay to your boss in your WhatsApp, texting a long essay to how to do some financial matters. No, it's not allowed there. The boss is not liable to read the whole essay that you write in the WhatsApp. So what you will do? You will call the boss back and you will tell the boss about what is his doubt regarding the financial issue. So in both in professional and in personal life, verbal communication is the best way of communicating. Okay. So I hope you understood the pros. Next, come to the cons. It is not possible to communicate to people in a different setup. Example, a person is in Japan cannot communicate to person in the other part of the world at that time, where the time zones are so different that is difficult to connect. Okay. First of all, there is the ISD calling. Suppose you are wanting to make an international call. Okay. To make an international call, you have to recharge your phone with ISD pack, that is International Standard Dialing pack. Okay. So that pack is a very costly pack in any kind of network operators. That pack is a very costly pack, the ISD pack. So what you have to do is you have to recharge with that. Suppose you have a shortage of money, so there is no way that you can do that. Okay, first of all. Second of all is, suppose you are calling from India to USA. Now suppose your relative is in USA. Now he or she now in India currently this is night time. Then this is just not that much night, just between the evening and the midnight. This is the time. It's currently 8:12. As you can see, it's currently 8:12 p.m. Now suppose in USA this time is let's just see over here, USA time right now. Let's see, 10:42 a.m. Okay, suppose this time the relative that I want to, or the friend that I want to call is currently at his office and in a meeting with boss, because obviously 9 to 5 jobs are very popular jobs in USA. So you should go at 9 and you should return back at 5 p.m. Sorry, you should go at 9 a.m. and return back at 5 p.m. So 9 a.m. is very much before 10:42 a.m. So now currently he is at a conference meeting and now I am calling him. So he will be distracted from the meeting and he may get scolded if his phone is not silent. So that's why it is not possible to communicate to people in a different setup. That means in a different part of the world. That's what is due to the difficulty of time zones. Okay. Next, it requires proximity. That is, the sender and receiver must be at the same place, same time to communicate. Okay. Proximity means now it is telling about the face-to-face communication. That means suppose you are standing in front of me and then I am talking with you. So this is the face-to-face communication. Suppose I am 5 kilometers away from you. Now can I shout out so loud that you can hear my voice? No, even it's not a very accurate way of conversation. That means if I want to talk to you personally, why should I let other people hear what I am telling you? So I shouldn't shout 5 kilometers away from your house to talk with you. Okay. So this proximity thing is required for face-to-face communication. Proximity means suppose you are in front of me. You are just a little bit in front of me so that I can just speak softly and tell you everything that I want. Okay. This is called proximity. Proximity means nearby. That means you are near me. It often feels incomplete to keep records. Okay. in verbal communication, records are not kept. That means suppose I am telling all this, so are you writing all this down, what I am telling in the video? Each and every word that is spoken in this video, are you writing this down? Or suppose if you are standing in front, suppose this COVID situation ends and normal classes arise, normal classes just commences, okay? So then I will be taking your class offline. Will you be writing each and every word that I say in the class? No, it's not possible to write each and every word. See all the words I am speaking right now even. Are you writing each and every words? Or will you write each and every words? If even I stand in front of you, you won't, because that's not possible. Okay, that's not possible. You should write the important words that I say, but not everything. Okay, not everything you should write, because the things that I'm telling right now, these are not worthy writing. Okay, these shouldn't come in exam. I'm just making you understand all this. Okay, so this is incomplete to keep record. It often feels incomplete to keep record because words are huge. Suppose you want to keep record of me throughout the whole class, the 45 minutes class, then your whole copy will get finished. You will just write a 1000 word essay if you keep every word, track of every word that I write, that I say. Okay, so that's one of the disadvantage. This is a disadvantage in case of lecturers. The lecturers who give lectures in colleges and universities, okay, they give a high speed lecture and the students struggle to note down their lectures. Okay? Nowadays there has been many technologies like voice recording and all, but in previous times, the 1990s, 1980s, then also there were universities, but then the students have to write. They struggled in writing all the words said by the lecturer because all those words are valuable words. Okay. Next, it is not possible to represent things officially. Now suppose if I just confess, suppose I have done a murder. Suppose if I confess that I have done a murder. Now, will you be able to record this voice in front of me if I just tell in front of me? If I just tell you in front of you, just tell it. No, you won't be able to record my voice, or you won't be able to get anything in written. So it's a legally not possible to express what I say, except I am just in front of the magistrate, except I am in courts, that is in legal courts, okay, high court, supreme court, everywhere you have to say, everywhere suppose a criminal or just any kind of authority has to say in front of the judge. The judge, that means the magistrate, has to hear each and every word that is spoken by the victim or by the, what should I say, by the proof that is being there. Okay, all the people who are giving proofs or witnesses, okay, all have to stand up on the court and say in front of the judge. But if they say outside the court, can the judge hear them, or is that a legally accepted thing, officially accepted thing? It's not. Okay, so verbal communication is not legally accepted until and unless it is not spoken in front of a supreme official, okay, in front of an official who has a very high power or high priority. Except that, it is not possible. Okay, it is not a complete form of communication as it requires other forms of communication for its completion. Because it is not obviously it is not a complete form of communication, because see, I am using some words, I am decorating my speech with some words. Okay, when I try to speak in English, I decorate my speech with some words so that it will be much more presentable to you. Okay, so this is not a complete form because I have to decorate my speech. If I say random English, that is I am saying some English in with the grammatical errors. Okay, suppose I is teaching, see, I is teaching, this is a grammatical error. So if I just throw random English in front of you, it is not a very good thing for a teacher to do. So that's why this kind of English that I am telling are to be told with proper grammatical knowledge. Okay, so that's why, except grammatical knowledge, this kind of communication is useless. Okay, so you should have a great grammatical knowledge, at least the basic grammatical knowledge. So it is a incomplete, it is not complete form of communication. Okay, that's why. And there are emotional barriers. Okay, obviously there are emotional barriers. Example, a speaker has to speak about something refreshing while he may be feeling super tired. Suppose suppose I am having high fever, suppose I am super tired, suppose I have a huge workload from the morning, and now I am taking the class, I am recording the video. So suppose I am very very tired, but still I have to say. Okay, so these are emotional barriers. I can't say you that I am so tired, please I can't take the class today. Okay, I can't say, because I am liable to say, I am liable to take the class for you. Okay, so that's why this is one of the these are the all 5 cons that we studied right now. Okay, for the verbal or oral communication. I hope you understood this part. Next comes the pros and cons of non-verbal communication. In non-verbal communication, let's talk about the pros, that is the advantages or the good things. Very easy to demonstrate. Okay, very easy to demonstrate. That means in non-verbal communication, using gestures, I can demonstrate everything very easily without saying it. Okay, suppose if I just give you a gesture of crying, if I just give you a gesture of crying in front of, I am just standing in front of you and I am giving a gesture of crying, and suppose I am giving a gesture of punching you. Now you can just see it and you can just recognize that I want to punch you. Okay, that means I am angry. So these are very easy to demonstrate. Very useful for conveying messages. Non-verbal communication usually conveys where verbal is unable to reach. Example, where is too much noise in the class. Just gesture. See, suppose there is too much noise in the class. Okay, suppose there are 40-50 students in a class and they are shouting with their full voices. Suppose in your class, let's say example, if I take an offline class and suppose you are so happy, you are so excited that you start shouting. Okay, now I want to keep all the class quiet. So what I will do? Shall I shout over you? Because I can't. It is physics won't allow me. Why? Because you 40 people are shouting on me over my voice. Is my voice so loud that it can go above your voice? It's not possible. So what I will do? I will show you the gesture of keeping my finger on my lips, so that to tell all you that be quiet. Okay, just a gesture is enough for everyone to be quiet. That I am telling you that you all should be quiet. Okay, that is nothing but written over here. Where there is too much noise, the keeping the finger on the mouth conveys that the teacher is asking to keep quiet. Okay, this paragraph, in this paragraph it's written finger on the mouth, the teacher is asking to keep quiet. Okay, next comes the no language barrier. See, suppose if you are if you know Japanese and I know Chinese and someone know English, we three are different people from different parts of the world, and we 3 people have different knowledge of language. Okay, now can we communicate using verbal communication? Never, because we don't know each other's language. So we can communicate using non-verbal communication. So if I want to eat, so I will show you a gesture that I want to eat something. So we can eat, we three can eat together at some restaurant. Okay, suppose I want to go to toilet, so I will show you the gesture of toilet, then I can go to the toilet. Okay, so like that, there is no language barrier. So you know, don't need to learn any language for doing non-verbal communication. Okay, next, it is very fast. It is actually very fast to make you understand everything. Okay, suppose if I, as I have said, the non-verbal communication of the non-verbal form of communication conveys the message very fast. The receiver easily interprets the cues without any barrier of common region, language or qualification or so forth. That means, suppose if, again I am taking the example of this, suppose if I am doing an acting of crying, so you can just look at my face, or you can just look at my gesture, and you can see that I am doing a crying gesture. Or if I am sad, then my mouth will be like a very sad face, then my face will be a very sad one. Okay, so you can just look at me and you can understand that I am sad. So this is very fast to convey. I don't have to quote that I am sad, and you don't have to understand this line that I am sad. The I am sad line is an English line, so you don't need to understand whether I am sad on whether the I am sad is English or French or anything. Okay, so these are the, what should I say, are the pros of non-verbal communications, non-verbal form. Now cons: not suitable for lengthy messages. Suppose you can't do a lengthy message. You can't just give a lengthy message just using gestures. It is not possible. It is just a very rubbish kind of knowledge, a rubbish kind of concept, that you can just give gestures and tell a huge lecture, 100-page lecture you can just tell. Suppose if I want to teach you a subject, can I do the whole subject using just non-verbal communication? I can't. It is not possible without verbal. Next, second point, an incomplete form of communication. This is an incomplete form. Okay, non-verbal communication falls short of communicating details, and it's become hard to understand the full message if it's not supported by other forms of communication. For example, suppose using non-verbal communication, I want to tell you your homework. Suppose we are standing on a road. Okay, suppose you are going, the school has completed and you are going to your home. Now, just at the very end of your school's gate, I just got there and I told you non-verbally, that using gestures, that I give you the homework. Okay, now can I tell you what homeworks I will give, the some numbers that I will give? I can't tell you. Why? Because this is non-verbal, that I can't say it with my mouth. But even the some numbers can't be told by me using gestures. What I need to do, I need to write it somewhere and I need to show you. So I have to take the help of written communication to do that. So that is why it is given as incomplete form of communication. Okay? Chances of misinterpretation. That means someone can misinterpret my message. Suppose I want to convey a good message to someone, but he or she takes that message in a wrong manner. Okay? If the message is not well understood by the other person, he or she may get misled. Okay, he or she may understand the opposite meaning of the conversation. Okay, but I didn't want to intentionally, I didn't want to make that meaning out of the gestures. Okay, the next thing is the regional and cultural differences. Okay, this point, regional and cultural differences. Every culture has different gestures and expressions, and they are considered good or bad. Okay, every cultures have some kind of gestures, some kind of conversation. Suppose let's talk about in Hindus. In Hindus, when we greet people, we do namaskar. Okay, in Islam, if we greet people, we do salam. Okay, in Christianity or in kind of in Western countries, what we do handshake. Okay, we do handshake. So these are the different gestures. Understood? These are all some Western culture, Eastern culture, Asian culture. Asian culture is something different. Okay, some Chinese people will be different in greeting themselves. Okay, like that. Okay, all the different barriers of communication comes over here. Okay, regional cultural differences are there. This is such cultural and regional differences may ruin the communication and it may be misinterpreted. Suppose over here is a good example. In some Western cultures, women are greeted by cheek to cheek touching, but in Eastern culture this is considered offensive. Obviously in America, if suppose two females meet each other, two girls meet each other, they will do a cheek to cheek hello or hi. Okay, suppose one girl and one boy meets each other after a long time, they will also do a cheek to cheek hi. They will just say hello. This is the way they say hello. Okay, suppose that is done in India, that is a very offensive thing to be done in India. Okay, Indian people will find it offensive because the culture is different. This is the Eastern culture and the Western culture. There is a cultural barrier between these two cultures. Okay, next comes, okay, so I think you understood that the non-verbal communication. Next comes the visual form of communication. Pros and cons. So first the pros, it reinforces other forms of communication. Okay? That means visual aids, when used with other forms of communication such as oral or written communication, it makes the message more clear and more understandable. That means suppose I am teaching you everything. Suppose this video I have just done a recording, a voice recording. You would have understood the whole chapter, but there was a little gap in communication between us. So what I planned, I actually took the photo of the pages so that I can show you line by line what I am trying to say. So this is both a visual and an oral form of communication. So I am showing you where I am teaching it right now. Okay, so that is a better way of communicating. Your concentration will be more on the video rather than on other sides. Okay, so it is a better form. So it reinforces other forms of communication. That means if you combine visual form with other forms of communication, the results will be much better. That is what is being told over here. Okay, it can explain things in the way which are not possible through words. Like suppose I want to show you what should I say, suppose you have statistics in your maths and I want to show you a bar graph like that I want to show you a bar graph. Suppose in companies, when during conference meetings, suppose one presentation leader, okay, one leader of the or team leader of a company wants to show the increase in share price of the company. So So how will he just tell? He will say that previously the share price was 200, now the share price is 240, on the future the share price will be 250. Not like that. He will show it using a graph, like that. He will show using a graph, so that all the members in the conference meeting can understand in full details that in which year the share price was what. Okay, so that is, it can explain things in such a way which are not possible through words, that I can't speak everything in word. Suppose in maths, if I just give lectures to you, will you understand? Never you will understand. You will never understand until and unless I do it on a board or any kind of paper, that kind of maths, or I show you as a presentation in my laptop. Okay, until that you won't even understand a single thing. Okay, so that is why it is not possible to explain in words some kinds of communications. So there we take visual communications. Next, it clears the barrier of qualification of language. Okay, visual communications can successfully convey the intended message. That means this message can be conveyed to a Asian, suppose to a Chinese person. Okay, this message can be conveyed to a Chinese, or you should say a Japanese person, or he or she can interpret this message that I am showing the growth rate of something. Okay, and these are the years, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2018. So these are the years, and these are the values. Okay, these are the values. Suppose the values in money. Okay, these are the values. So this thing, if he or she is intelligent enough, then he can understand. Okay, so there is no barrier of qualification of language. There is no language difference. That means I have to know Japanese to make this understand to a Japanese person. No, it's not like that. Suppose if I took a WhatsApp picture and send it to one Japanese person, he or she can understand what I am trying to say without even speaking to him in verbally. Okay, so these were the pros of this kind of communication. Next come the cons. Okay, cons, that means the disadvantages. Comparatively expansive. Okay, visual medium is comparatively expansive. It's written expansive, but it should be expensive. There is a printing mistake in your book, I think. EXPENSIVE, expensive. See, over here it's written expensive, but over here it's written expansive. So this is a printing error. So comparatively expensive. Visual medium is comparatively expensive medium of communication, because I need to arrange for many phones. Suppose I don't have a laptop, I don't have a mobile phone. How can I show you? Suppose I have a mobile phone that uses keypads. Okay, I don't have a smartphone. Can I show you anything visually? Because in that phone, suppose there is no camera. So then it's not even possible to show you any kind of photos visually. Okay, I can't even video call you. I can't even take the interactive classes also in that case. So why is it called expensive? Because I have to buy mobile phones which are costly enough nowadays. I have to buy laptops which are further more costly enough than mobile phones also. Okay, so that's why these are expensive. The visual form is expensive because you have to write something somewhere. Okay, suppose in school I have to write using a chalk on the board. So that's why the school have to buy that board. The school have to buy the chalks. Okay, so these are the expenses, extra expenses that are being required. Next, second one is requires specialized storing. That means suppose I want to store this PDF. I want to store this PDF that I have made. I want to store it in my computer or in my mobile phone. The process of storing is a bit complex. The process of storing this is a bit complex. It's stored inside a hard drive, a hard disk, or SSD. Nowadays they have come with SSD. So the storing is a bit complex, you know. Okay, the computer doesn't. It is so easy with your eyes that the storing is done like in a nanosecond. The storing has been done, but in computer this is a very complex process. When you will go on with computer in higher classes, you will know. Not even higher classes, in higher courses. If you do in college courses, so there you will see that these kind of things are so complex that are happening inside computer. So requires special storing. Because, and also since they're costly, so they have to be stored, they have to be preserved very well. Okay. Number 3 is time consuming. Obviously preparing is time consuming. Suppose if I have made a presentation, suppose this video that I'm making, a visual video that you will see. So this is time consuming, almost 30 minutes time it takes for me to make a video, and again another 20 to 15 to 20 minutes it's taking for me to upload this video. Okay, so this is too much time consuming, you can understand it. Next comes not a complete form of communication. Okay, it's not a complete form of communication. So if I just don't say anything, if I just scroll through the PDF, will you be able to understand what I'm trying to say? Never, because it is not complete form. I have to complete it using the other mediums of communication, that is my verbal form. I have to. Okay, so visual form and verbal form are combined together, what I am doing right now. Okay, so to precisely deliver each and every bits of knowledge to you, so that you can understand it very well. I hope that the visual form of communication is very clear, because these are all theory portions, you have to learn it, but still I am trying to make you understand so that the learning becomes much easier for you. Next comes the pros and cons of written communication. Written, that means suppose you are writing homeworks in your copy, you are writing notes in your copy, these are written communications. Pros, that means the advantages. Permanent storage, that means your copies will not be erased anytime. Okay, you can't even erase. Suppose your hard disk will crash and every data you have in your hard disk are lost. This won't happen with your copy. Your copy is not a hard disk, it won't get erased automatically. Second thing, standing a legal holding. Obviously, when suppose if you have seen any, I don't know if you have seen or not, I shouldn't expect that you should see right now. Okay, well, you are very much accustomed with that. Suppose you want to buy a property, or you want to just do anything in a form of legal manner. Okay, suppose you want to buy a property, or you want to buy a land. So what you have to do is you have to sign on legal paper. That paper is called the power of attorney. That means the power of that land or that home or that house belongs to you. That means you are the landlord. Okay, you are the owner of that place. That power of attorney is the legal papers that you have signed, where it's written that this land and this object belongs to you. So that is legal. That means all these are writings in the paper. If you can open the paper, you can see everything is written over here, and you have signed in written format. You haven't signed just by saying on the mouth, or the judge hasn't told you that this land is yours, this land is mine. If the judge would have told like that, then everyone would have started snatching anyone's land, anyone's house. Okay, so everyone has a written thing, so that they can show it as a proof. Accountability, that's the meaning of thing. The signed documents are fully accountable legally. Okay, if you can show the signed document to a police officer and complain against anyone that he or she is forcing me to leave my house, but this house is mine, see, there is the sign of mine on the papers, on the legal papers, the police officer will then and there arrest the one who is disturbing you, who is forcing you to leave the house. Okay, so these are legally accountable. It facilitates reuse. Obviously, documents can be reused. Suppose the papers that you have written in homework, suppose you want to recycle that copy, you can recycle it. The papers will be recycled. Then comes mass circulation possible. So mass circulation is obviously possible. Okay, why am I telling mass circulation possible? Because suppose I want to give some notes to all of you. So rather than dictating, what I will do is I will print out that one note, and I will do many Xerox copies. Suppose 40 people are there in your class, so I will do 40 Xerox of those notes, and I will give everyone. That happens in exam, in offline exam. Suppose remember of offline exams. Okay, offline, where you given? You were given the question papers. Do I tell questions in my mouth, that is verbally? No. All the question papers are separate for separate person. Separate students, separate question papers have been printed for separate students. Okay, so that is called mass circulation. Like books are actually mass circulated. Suppose you have a book, your friend have a book, your friends of friends have a book. Okay, so books are nothing but written form of communication. That because mass circulation is possible. Suitably for lengthy messages. Suppose lengthy messages are given, suppose the whole chapter, I can tell it on my mouth, I can show you visually, I can tell it in gestures, but in a book, a chapter can be written in a very lengthy manner. Since this is class 10, you have chapters, short chapters, but when you will go into class 11 and 12, chapters in basically in science, it will become huge. In physics, in chemistry, in maths, the chapters will become huge. Suppose in maths right now you have max to max 10-20 sums in one exercise. Then you will be having 30-40 sums in exercise. See, the lengthy messages can be given using written communication. Next comes, it conveys sincerity. Okay, it conveys sincerity. That means Suppose in school, when you are doing offline classes in school, or suppose when you are still now when you are doing online classes, suppose the school wants to give you a notice, will the school authority call you and give the notice? No, it never happens like that. The school authority will give you a notice, a written notice, and it will publish it on a software where you can see that notice, that this is the notice where the school wants to know, school wants you to know, you all people to know. Okay, suppose there is an exam to be happening 1 week later, so the school will give a notice that exam will be happening 1 week later from this date, and the timing will be this, and the schedule will be like this. This subject will happening on this date, this subject will be on this date. So this is the official notice. So it conveys sincerity, it conveys ideology. Okay, this is the sincerity. Okay, next comes identical. Written communications, when duplicated or produced in bulk, maintains its identity. That means, suppose I make a Xerox copy of one paper. Will the material in the Xerox copy be different from the original one that is on my original paper? No, it will never be. The Xerox copy will be as it is, the photocopy of the original one. That is why it's called photocopy or called carbon copy, because these are the exact duplicate copies. Okay, so I can print huge duplicates. Okay, these are all the advantages of written communication. Next comes the disadvantages. First of all is costly. I can give you free speech, but can I give you a free book? Never. Books are costly, you know. Then it comes to time consuming. First the writer has to write the book, then he has to check whether the book has any errors or not, any kind of writing errors or not. Then he has to go to any publisher and request the publisher to publish their book. Okay, then the publisher will sanction whether that publisher will publish the book or not. Then the publisher will make the book for printing. Okay, the printing will take time. Then the publisher will deliver the book to the stores, to the distributors. Then the distributor will deliver those books to the retailers, and then the retailer will wait for the customers to buy those books. See, such a long process, obviously very time consuming. Next comes a barrier of qualification of language. Suppose a Chinese book, can you read the Chinese book? No, you can't. Until you know the Chinese language or Japanese language, you can't read a Chinese or Japanese book, or even a French or German book. Okay, next, cost on storage. Now if you want to store a book, you have to buy a cabinet, because if you want to store book here and there, your room will look messy. As if in library, what happens that in library is the book stored everywhere? That is on a chair, on a table, suppose on a desk. No, it's not like that, because in library everything is ordered. So the cost is very much, the paper cost is very much, okay, to store. The book binding cost, the papers has to be bound, or else the paper will fly away from the book. So that is one of the cost. And again, the cost is where you keep the book, that is also costly. And also you have to take care about rats and many kinds of insects which feed on papers. Okay, such as the paper don't decay or they are not eaten by insects. Okay, so these are communication forms, and there is a visual representation of what are the examples of verbal, written communication, non-verbal, visual communication. Okay, next, impact on body language. Now the body language contributes to very large impact. Okay, when you will be learning for interviews, when you will be taking interviews, you will see that many of your interviews will get rejected due to body language. Body language is a super important thing in case of interviews, or in case of speaking with some person who is of a very high priority. Suppose your posture, your hands should be on your knees. Okay, your legs shouldn't be one over another. Suppose in school, so when you are on a first bench in offline classes, when you are on a first bench, suppose you take one of your leg over another leg, your teacher will tell that keep the leg down, maintain discipline in class. Why? Is the leg disturbing the teacher? No, the teacher, that means he or she, is telling you this thing to make you disciplined. Okay, the discipline will be needed by you when you will be going to an interview. That means not in school. It will help you throughout your life. It will help you throughout your life, so that you grow up to be a good person, a good human being. That's why they scold you due to this small petty matters. Okay, See, now we'll be learning the do's and don'ts of the body language. Do's: always stand up with a straight back and relaxed posture. That means the posture must be straight but relaxed, not a stressed posture. Suppose you are trying very hard to become straight. No, not like that. Just a relaxed posture. Suppose the interviewer doesn't see you in a stressed manner, okay? Then he will have a negative side on you. Because the interviewer does what actually? He has a list of 10,000 candidates, and 10,000 candidates will be appearing for the interview, but within 10,000 only 100 will be chosen for the job. How tough it is, and how best candidates are chosen like that. From 10,000 only hundreds are chosen. That means you can say just a square root of 10,000 is actually 100. Okay, see how difficult this is, the difficult the competition in today's world is. Keep your arms by your side. So arms should be on the side, okay? That means no arm should crisscross each other. Sit with a straight spine. Again, posture. Straight spine should be straight. Smile as you enter into the room. Always you should put a smile in your mouth, okay? There must be a smile on your face, because you shouldn't convey to your interviewer that you are stressed. Even if you are nervous, you shouldn't convey that to your interviewer. Then the interviewer will think that you are not the correct person for this job, because you get nervous, you get stressed very easily, okay? So you are a weak, emotionally weak person. Interviewer will think of you like that. Next, greet others with smile. Obviously you should greet everyone good morning, hello, hi, like that. Make eye contact while speaking to someone. When you are speaking to someone, you should make eye contact. In interview actually there are actually 5 to 10 persons that are taking interview. So while speaking, don't even concentrate with one person. You should concentrate on the eyes of every one person you are talking with, okay? Every one person. It shouldn't look like that you are concentrating on only one person. You should look to every one person, because all of them are respectful to you. Offer a firm but gentle handshake. A firm handshake. That means your arm shouldn't be like very loose. Arm should be firm. That gives the interviewer that yes, you are confident, but gentle. You shouldn't just catch the hand of the interviewer and just press it so hard that he feels pain. Not like that, okay? Make eye contact with speaking to someone. I have told this one. Make eye contact for about 2 to 3 seconds with a person and with the next person in the audience while speaking publicly. So your eye contact should keep on varying. Suppose this person right now 2 to 3 seconds, then other person 2 to 3 seconds, then other person. That I have told you just a few seconds before. Next, actively and attentively listen to the speaker in the conversation. Suppose who is speaking to you, you should attentively hear that, because if you want to repeat him, then that would create a very bad impression of you. That means you are not a good listener. That means your mind is distracted. You are not listening to him or her properly, okay? Next, nod when engaged in a conversation as a listener. So when you listen something, you must nod. Why? Because that actually gives the interviewer or gives the person on the other side the approval that yes, he is listening to me and he is nodding. That's why. That means it is a signal that yes, you are listening right now. 11. Keep your shoulders relaxed down. Your shoulder must be relaxed. It shouldn't be like stressed, okay? Again, a sign of nervousness. Put even weight on both feet, that is stand solid. That means both feet must be equal weights, so that you don't just tilt left or right, okay? Stand solid. Don'ts of a body language, okay? Do not fidget. That means your hand should not be fidgeting. That means you should not make like punch, fidgeting hands. That means nervousness, okay? Do not lean on walls or your friends or objects. Suppose you are giving interview and you are just putting hands in your pocket and you are leaning on the wall in front of the interviewer. That is not a very respectful position to greet everyone. Don't fake your smile. Smile genuinely. Very good thing. Don't fake your smile. That means your smile shouldn't be fake. Genuinely smile. Do not droop your shoulder. The shoulders should not be sloth. That means it shouldn't be like very gentle. It shouldn't be like very loose. It should be very relaxed, very good posture. Don't fold your arms over your chest. That means the Swami Vivekananda position. Don't do that, okay? Because yes, Swami Vivekananda is a very huge human, very great person, but if you do that in interview, it will show to the interviewer that you are not giving adequate respect to that interviewer, okay? Don't lean forward or backward while sitting. So while sitting, keep your posture straight. Don't lean forward or don't lean backward. Okay. While sitting on the chair in front of the interview, you should be straight. Straightly you should be sitting on the chair. Just a smartness. Don't look away while in conversation. Suppose you are conversing with a person in the interview and you are looking to the doors while now. Okay, you are looking to the windows. This is a very bad thing. Inattentiveness. Okay. Don't keep your hands in your pocket while talking. Obviously, that I have told you just a minute before. Don't get too close to your listener. Respect their intimate zones. Okay, this is a proximity rule which you want to learn. That means you shouldn't go very close to someone who you don't know, who is a respectful person. That is actually respect. Suppose our interviewer is sitting in front of you. Do you go in front of him and hug him? No, never. It will create such a bad expression that he will just immediately tell get out. He will just immediately shout and tell you get out. Okay, so give them their zone. That is the safe zone, the proximity rule. Okay, that means the respectful distance between both person. That must be maintained. And do not touch your face repeatedly. Your face shouldn't be touched repeatedly. This means nervousness. Okay, this means nervousness. Suppose you are just rubbing your forehead, you are just putting fingers in your cheeks. So this means nervousness. Okay, so all these are the don'ts of your body language that you shouldn't do. Okay, I hope everyone understood the whole chapter. This was a short chapter. This is a totally theory chapter. You should learn all of them and try just solving these questions over here. And next day we will be discussing this question and we will be moving on with the next chapter. Okay, so for then